help me. Help me. I'm trying to pay you, but I want to pay you and not owe you. You know, there's a difference between paying and owing, okay? You'll catch that when you get to the car. Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, Lovey with Nee. Today's video is part 2 of my wedding planning series, and we're talking all about the Monday honey. I'm Nee, by the way, and if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. Also ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And since time is money and money is time, we're gonna keep this intro short and sweet and get right into it. Let's talk budgets. Some people like them, some people don't. Personally, I feel like you definitely need a budget when it comes to planning a wedding because things start to add up really fast. You and your partner need to sit down and think of a number you're both comfortable with spending and be realistic, okay? If you got it, you got it, and if you don't, you don't, and it is okay if you don't have it. The people who matter will not judge you for not having it. Your wedding day is just day one. You have the rest of your lives together. So you have life after your wedding day. And you don't want to start marriage off in the black because you threw this big extravagant wedding trying to impress these people with the food, the drinks, the band, and all this, that, and the other. And they really don't care. They're not going to be there to help you pay your bills. So y'all just keep it cute. Keep it cute. Where do you spend versus where do you splurge? Honestly, y'all, this entire video is going to be subjective because what is important to me and what I feel like is a necessary spend may not be the same thing for you. So that's why it's very important that you and your partner sit down together and figure out what you would or wouldn't want to spend unnecessary or extra money on. So do you prefer to have great food and drinks? Do you prefer having a DJ versus having a band? Do you want to have a great photographer and videographer, or is just having like a basic photographer and videographer okay? That's really going to depend on you and your partner, and like I said, what's important to y'all. We didn't splurge on much, but I will kind of go over a couple of things that we saved on, so maybe it can help you when you're planning your wedding. So one of the areas we decided to kind of cut costs on was our venue. We wanted to have a venue that required very minimal decorations because when we quoted or got quotes from different decorators and things like that, we were spending almost just as much as we were spending for venue spaces as we would have been for decorations. And that was done strategically, and I'm really glad that we did because we did not spend nearly as much money on decorating as we would have if we would have just gotten married like in a blank like, what do they call it, like a parish or a hall or something like that. I don't know, like, you know, the buildings, like a convention center. I don't know what they're called, but just a place that has nothing. Our venue has something, so we had a little bit more to work with and didn't have to spend a lot on decor. Another area we saved on was in food. So when we got our first quote, we had told our caterer pretty much everything that we in our brain wanted for our wedding day. And she gave us a quote and it was high. It was a lot of money. And I was like, oh God. So when you're talking with your caterer and things like that, see if there's any way that you can cut costs. Instead of having 4 choices, maybe you only need to have 3. And instead of having 3 sides, maybe you only need to have 2. Mashed potato bars are the bee's knees, and also a salad bar are the bee's knees. They are very cost friendly and fill your guest up. So definitely check into that. We also saved money when it came to invitations. Now, I wasn't that person that absolutely had to have these big extravagant invitations. We also didn't do save the dates. I know that's kind of controversial. People think that they absolutely need save the dates, but honestly, people don't keep save the dates. I always throw all mine away. So I was like, I'm not spending money on the postage. I'm not spending my money on the invitation. We're just going to do a general invitation about 6 months out. And that to me was just the most cost-effective thing for us to do. We also didn't do like the fancy invitations where you have the envelope with the string and the wax and all that stuff. Now, honestly, I did want it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna front. I did want all all those things. You know, when you're a young girl and you're planning your wedding, you want all those things. But when you look at the dollar bills it takes to bring all that to life, you're kind of like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So instead of having a physical invitation, we went with a digital invitation. We used greenvelope.com. This is not sponsored, by the way, even though I wouldn't mind if one day it was. But we did use greenvelope.com to do our wedding invitations, and it was great. It cost about $1 an invitation after it was all said and done, which in my opinion was a much better deal, because postage stamps I think right now are like 60 to 70 cents, something like that. So that's almost like $1. And then you have to take in your envelopes, you have to take in your cards and any extras that you want to do. Like, you're spending almost like $3 or $4 per invitations, versus if you did a digital one, it was for us, it was only like $1. If I can find it, or if I can locate it, whatever the case may be, I will upload right here our digital invitation. It was cute. We did a video during our engagement photo shoot, and I used that video to go into our invitation, and everybody that we sent our invitation to loved it. It was interactive, it's right there, and it just turned out great. You don't have to have a koozie, you don't have to have a napkin. I thought I did, and I was upset, y'all, that I did not have a koozie or a napkin for my wedding day. But looking back on it, it was just a waste. Like, it's such a waste. In my opinion. Now, they're cute and they're fun in their ways, you know, to kind of mark the occasion and have like a memorabilia. But honestly, like, I'm glad we didn't spend the money on that. I did, however, spend money on the stir sticks. We had cute little stir sticks that said The Millers on it. I got maybe like 200, and y'all, 150 of those are in our storage. They're in our storage. And so I told my husband, I said, if we host another party, those stir sticks are coming out for every single party that we host from here on out until we use every single last one of them. So if you're looking at places to cut costs, I'm going to say the napkins, I will say the koozies, and I'm going to go ahead and throw in the stir sticks too. I got mine from AliExpress. It didn't cost a whole bunch, but I mean, definitely could have used that money for something else, child. So if you're looking to cut costs, look at what you're adding in the extras at your reception. Look at your reception extras and just little tidbits, little tiddlywinks here and there that you're adding in that you definitely like because they're cute, but more than likely don't need. Honestly, y'all, like I've said in a lot of videos before, I'm very frugal and I'm very cheap. So I could go on and on and on about all the things that I saved on. But I will tell you one place that we did splurge on, and one hill that I will die on, is if you don't spend money on anything else, you need to spend money on a wedding coordinator. Y'all, get the wedding coordinator. And if you find a good one, because I have heard horror stories of bad ones, if you have a good one, they just take that load off of you and you are able to really relax during your wedding day. Think about it. Every single problem that comes up, people are coming to you because there's no middleman. And so your coordinator is somebody who just puts out the fires before they even get started. Our coordinator talked to all the vendors. She made the schedule. All I had to do really is say, yes, I like that. No, I don't like that, and show up on the day. You want to really enjoy and live in the moment of your wedding day and not have to just worry about all the problems. The only problem, which is not even a problem, the only problem you need to worry about is yourself making it down the aisle to your partner, saying I do, and walking away in marital bliss. All right, so let's talk about a couple of vendors and vendor red flags. How do you pick a vendor? Who's a good vendor for you? Who's a good fit? Well, the first thing I'll say is that you always kind of want to chit chat and talk with your vendor. Your intuition is great, and you need to trust your intuition. If you're talking to somebody on the phone and y'all just don't jive, just think about that person being a part of one of the most important days of your life and how you would feel about that. So one thing I'll say too about a vendor and the red flags when it comes to choosing a vendor, number one thing is if they do not have a contract for you to sign. Now listen, I understand if they're a new business or if they're a small business or something like that, they may or may not have contracts. You may be the first wedding that they have ever done, and that's understandable. In that situation, make one. Make one. Go online, find like a free online template and fill it in to how it applies to you and that vendor and get them to sign it. Even if it's family, especially if it's family, you need to have something in black and white that outlines the expectations and the responsibilities, the cost and the repercussions of this vendor if they do not perform said duty on your wedding day. It protects not just you, but it also protects them. So if it's somebody you know, personal, they're like, oh, don't worry about it, worry about it. Get you a contract, make sure you both sign, make sure it's what you want it to be, and then take it from there. Read every single word of your contract. I don't care if they send it to you. However, read every single word. There was one vendor that we used, and they had to resend the contract, I believe, like 5 times before I would sign it, because every time it was sent to me, there was something wrong with it. And if there was something that I didn't understand, I was like, hey, what does this mean? I made sure that I understood and I knew exactly what was going on before I signed that contract. And if they get an attitude with you or get kind of sassy with you or something like that, then that's not somebody you want to do business with anyway. And when it comes to the contract, I feel like vendors should ask as many questions as many times as I ask them until I understand and I feel comfortable, because this is legally binding and I'm giving you my money. So help me. I'm trying to pay you, but I want to pay you and not owe you. You know, there's a difference between paying and owing, okay? You'll catch that when you get to the car. If your vendor is not responding back to you, I would definitely take that as a red flag. If somebody can't respond back to me, especially when I'm inquiring about their service, then I'm not too keen on giving my money to somebody who can't text me back. You know, if they're not responding to you in this stage, then just think about on your wedding day, the day before, the day of, how they're going to ignore and not respond to you, and just think about that stress. Do you want that? I can guarantee your answer is no. I like to give like a 24 to 36 hour grace period of somebody to contact me back. But if we're outside that window, and sometimes I'll even give you 48 hours, but outside of that window, you should have either acknowledged the fact that I reached out to you or given me a response back. And if I haven't heard back from you, then, you know, hey, I can't give you my money. You want to add about $1,000 to whatever budget you set for last minute costs. I feel like that's about how much money we spent at the end. Like, I want to say like the week prior to our wedding, there was just so many last minute things that we realized we didn't have as we were packing up and getting ready to take our things to the venue. You just want to be prepared. You may not spend all $1,000, but at least you know you have that on the side and ready to go if you need it. And one last thing I want to address before we get out of here is if your friend or family or whoever offers to pay for certain aspects of your wedding, like how do you handle that? What do you do? Honestly, really and truly, I'm not gonna count that as money that we have until we have it like dead in our hands. If Mamaw said, oh, I'm gonna give you $15,000, I'm not gonna automatically say, okay, we have $15,000 to work with. No, not until Mamaw puts it in my hand. And the reason why I say that is because life happens. Mamaw very much was like prepared and really wanted to give you $15,000, right? However, life happens. She fell, she broke her hip, she couldn't work. Whatever happened to Mamaw, now she can't give you $15K, and you have already spent it before having it. You'll be very disappointed. You will disappoint yourself. You'll have, you know, just misplaced anger towards that person because they didn't deliver on what they said they'd be able to do, and really more so you're upset because you had already made plans for what you were going to use that for, and now you can't carry out those plans. So just save yourself the trouble, put it in like a little miscellaneous. Mamaw said $15K, but we're not going to count it until we get it in our hand, and once we get it in our hand, then we can apply it to where we need to. All right, y'all, that's it on budgeting. Drop down in the comments and let me know how you feel about a good old budget. Does it take you up? Does it take you down? Like, what do budgets make you feel? Hopefully this video gave you some think pieces on how you can have a fabulous yet affordable wedding. If you enjoyed this video, give me a big thumbs up. Also subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to tell someone somebody to tell somebody to tell somebody else to come on over and enjoy Lovey with Nee. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Yeah.